is going on, guys? Before this video starts, I want to announce that I'm doing another giveaway. The guys over at 330 Creations generously sent myself and you guys out some decals so I can give them away. They sent me out both black, gold, and white ones, and I'm going to be giving away. So how I'm going to do this is pretty much you just have to be following me on Instagram and like the posts that I'm going to be making about this. So when this video goes up, I'll be posting on Instagram a picture of this and basically just saying something like this picture for a chance to be entered into the giveaway or whatever, you know. And I'll probably be giving away 5 of them. And of course you'll have your choice of which color you want, again, either white, gold, or black. So whichever you guys want, of course, I'll randomly select the 5 winners out of whoever likes that post, probably after 24 hours. I don't really want to drag it out much longer than that. Then I'll announce them via Instagram. So yeah, that's the next giveaway. So definitely follow me on Instagram at auto.autopsy. Again, all you have to do is like it and be following me for a chance to win. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So I've gotten a couple suggestions in comments to make a video discussing some of the best mods that you can do to your Saab. And I'm going to specifically be covering my car today, the 2003 and up 9.3 with the B207R engine, which is the 2-liter turbo for those of you who don't know. Now, I did a lot of research trying to find, besides, you know, the basic stuff like tune exhaust, blah, 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 like how much can these engines make? Are they really good for building or modding like heavily? And, you know, from what I found, they really are not good engines to put a lot of power into. A lot of people that do have the B207R engine in their car, they'll a lot of times swap in the B234 engine out of the 9.3 or 9.5 from beforehand. That's the 2.3 liter, and they'll just put a big turbo on it and of course do exhaust, tune, blah blah blah, all those other things. The reason that those B234s are so good is because the stock internals on those are really strong. A couple of posts I was reading said that, you know, mine is running 500 horsepower on stock internals. Mine is running 400 horsepower on stock internals. So really, you can build these cars to pretty much what you would be happy with and not have to mess with the actual inside of the engine. So that's why when you see modded Saabs, pretty much every single one of them will have that B234 engine in it. So I don't want to go off track here because I know a lot of you have the B207R engine and there's very little information about modding these online. So I'm still going to make this video on the B207R. And from what I read also, the swap from the B207R to the B234 really isn't that difficult since they're both Saab engines, if for some reason you did want to put that into your 9.3. So the first and most obvious mod is a tune. You can get a good amount more power out of your car really without even modifying it. Just sending it off to a company to have it tuned. Actually, speaking of that, a couple of my friends just started a company called Swedish Motorsports, and they are now distributors of map tune parts, so go ahead and check them out at Swedish Motorsports. I'll probably be doing a video with them soon of them either tuning my car or my dad's 9.3. So I'll be doing a video with them soon, but if you are interested in buying some nice Hirsch and MapTune stuff, they have it on their website. So anyways, like I said, when I got my stage 1 tune, I got about another 50 horsepower and foot-pound of torque without even modifying the car. The only thing that I changed about that was the spark plugs because they were supposed to work better with the tune. But really, when you think about it, spark plugs are such a cheap mod, you really don't even have to do that in some cases. Again, it depends on the tune to even get more power. So tunes, again, they can be fairly expensive. They're probably going to be around 300 bucks, maybe more. It depends on who you go to and who does it. Number 2 is an exhaust, and that is another very obvious thing that you can do to get more power and, of course, make your car sound pretty badass. So you can either start with something as simple as a catback system, but what I recommend and what really made the difference for my car was a downpipe. So for those of you who don't know, the downpipe of the car is literally the pipe that goes down, like from the engine up here down to the bottom of the car, and then the catback is pretty much from the catalytic converter back. So the downpipe pretty much replaces the catalytic converter and all the tubing between the turbo and just after the catalytic converter. So pretty much any downpipe that you're going to buy is already going to have a high flow cat on it, which is why they're so expensive. I mean, downpipes for the B207R are probably going to run you $400 to $500 at least, but I do think that they're worth it. I felt a massive difference after I got my downpipe, and it makes a huge difference. And it also makes the car sound a lot better than just the catback, because now you can hear that turbo spool so much more, and it just sounds a lot meaner. But you can't really do the downpipe and then keep the stock catback system, because that just wouldn't make sense. So with the catback system, again, it's just the catalytic converter back. So in terms of amount of the exhaust system, the catback is a pretty good chunk of the piping for it, but it doesn't really have anything too significant on it. You can get it from Krona, you can get custom made like I did. There's a few brands out there that make them. They're not terribly expensive, but I personally prefer the custom route. I think it saved me money, and I got it installed for free. If you guys haven't seen the 2 videos I've done on my exhaust, I did one when I got the downpipe and one when I got the catback system. So if you haven't seen those, they'll be on my channel. Just if you search Saab 93 exhaust, I'm sure they'll pop up on YouTube. So number 3 is an intake, and you can go with either a cold air intake or a drop-in filter here. And I would personally suggest going with a full intake system. So if you're getting a full intake system for these cars, it'll probably cost you about $200. You can find them on a few different websites. There's BSR is one of the big ones that I might upgrade to, but it really just depends person to person. I wouldn't recommend getting a custom one of these or trying to make one yourself, because if you customize one or fabricate one, there's a good chance that you're going to get a check engine light and you're not really going to be able to get rid of it. And with a drop-in filter, of course, that is cheaper. I have a K&N drop-in filter that was about $60, and yes, that is nice, but those K&N filters do have oil on them, and sometimes that oil can cause problems. It did give me a check engine light probably about 2 months after I had it in for my mass airflow sensor, which I just had to clean and then clear the code, and it's been fine since. But personally, I kind of regret getting the filter, and I think I would recommend the actual intake system, if you will, for your car instead. Number 4 on this list is an intercooler, and intercoolers are huge when you're living in a hot climate such as me in Arizona, because cars get super heat soaked super quickly, probably within the first 5 minutes of you driving it when you live out here, so you lose like all your performance pretty much right away. So obviously your B207R already comes with an intercooler, but it's not the best. I mean, of course it does its job when the car is stock, but if you're going to be making a good amount more power, you're going to want a better intercooler to be able to handle that power. Now there's a few intercoolers that I've heard that are really good for the B207R. One of them is the DO88 intercooler. You can find that one on eEuro parts. It's about $775, I think, but that one also comes with all the piping. And the piping is pretty important too, because if you get metal piping, it'll really help with the airflow versus the plastic or rubber. Another one is an ETS intercooler. I believe that one's around $500 or $600, so it's a little bit cheaper, but I'm not sure if that one comes with the piping or not that you need. And of course, you can always buy the piping separate, but it's not mandatory that you get the piping with it. And another intercooler that I've found works out really well on this car is the Evo 8 or Evo 9 intercooler out of a Mitsubishi Evo. The outlets for the intercooler line up pretty much perfectly with the stock outlets, so that's pretty much just a plug and play if you do want to use one of those. And a bigger intercooler will give you more cold air to the engine. Of course, colder air is more dense, you can get more power because more air is going to the engine, blah blah blah. So I'm not going to go over that and explain the science behind it, because I really don't care enough to, and I'm sure that you guys can comprehend well enough why an intercooler helps. So number 5 is upgrading to a bigger turbo. Now, I'm not saying big turbo, like upgrade to a turbo that's twice the size of my face, but there is a turbo. It's the Mitsubishi 19T. I believe it's a Mitsubishi. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But that is better than the stock turbo, because the stock turbo can only go up to about 20-21 PSI safely. So if you want to run more boost than that, obviously more boost is more power. So upgrading to the 19T turbo is a good idea. I don't think it's really much bigger than the stock turbo, but it's a lot more efficient and it can produce more boost. I'm pretty sure that that turbo will bolt straight up to pretty much where your old one was. It's not entirely difficult to replace. You probably shouldn't have to do much fabricating or anything like that. So there are, of course, more upgrades that you can do. You can do flex fuel, you can run E85, get new fuel injectors, a fuel pump. You know, there's a lot more upgrades that you can do, but I personally don't see the use of any of those except for injectors. And the fuel pump you shouldn't really need to upgrade unless you're making much more power than the stock internals could handle. And of course you could upgrade the internals if you want. It's just very few people do it, and I probably won't be doing it because I just don't really see use. And again, it is my daily driver, so it just doesn't really make sense. So those are kind of 5 big upgrades that you can do to your Saab 9.3, specifically the B207R engine. And it kind of sucks that you're not going to be able to get huge power numbers out of that engine, but you know, at the same time, it's not the best engine to modify. I mean, that's just the sad truth about it. So that's just something that I really noticed actually right now as I was thinking about it more, that every time I've watched videos of Saab meets or modified Saabs, they've all been with those older engines, that B234. Those engines, of course, you can also get rods and pistons and anything else that you would need for them to make even more than that amount of power. But, you know, at the end of the day, who really needs more than 500 horsepower in a front-wheel drive car? So, with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out 330 Creations and to follow me on Instagram so you can have your chance to win these awesome decals for your car. But yeah, it's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Where do I go?